Hey guys, hi. So we are again starting with question solving and question solve करने का why we are picking up IGS और Olympiad level के क्वेश्चन हम क्यों सॉल्व कर रहे हैं। अब देखो ओलंपियाड सोच के सबसे पहले ये मत सोचना कि ये नीट के लिए अच्छा नहीं है, ज़्यादा है, कम है। देखो ओलंपियाड के क्वेश्चंस ना आपकी इनएक्यूरेसीज को वीड आउट करते हैं, आपके रॉन्ग अंडरस्टैंडिंग्स को वीड आउट करते हैं। दैट इज़ वाई दे आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। ठीक है, तो अगर आप ओलंपियाड के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो डेफिनेटली दिस इज़ अ ग्रेट डील। ओके, नो नो प्रॉब्लम एट दैट। बट अगर आप नीट के लिए भी प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो ना, तो डू ट्राई, नॉट फॉर 2026, जो 2026 का रीनीट हो रहा है उसके लिए इस चीज़ों को मत देखो। क्यों? क्योंकि आपके पास बहुत कम टाइम है एंड यू आर डूइंग योर ओन रिविजन। दिस इज नॉट फॉर यू, दिस इज फॉर नेक्स्ट ईयर। ठीक है, तो अपन दो टाइप से क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करेंगे। वन विल बी पिकिंग अप एन ईयर वाइज सिक्वेंशली, ईयर ऑन ईयर पेपर सॉल्व कर रहे होंगे, और विल बी डूइंग चैप्टर ऑन चैप्टर। दोनों टाइप से क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर रहे होंगे। वाई वी आर डूइंग बोथ ऑफ दिस? फॉर अ वेरी सिंपल रीजन दैट चीज़ें मोनोटनस ना हो। सिर्फ एक चैप्टर होते रहेगा फिर भी आप बोर हो जाओगे, सिर्फ एक ईयर रहेगा तो ऐसा लगेगा कि हैप्पीजार्ड हो रहा है। सो आई विल बी क्रिएटिंग प्ले लिस्ट अकॉर्डिंगली सो दैट यू कैन डू दोट। तो चलो, वी आर स्टार्टिंग विद जेनेटिक्स बिकॉज ये ऐसा चैप्टर है जिससे सबको डर लगता है, और वी आर स्टार्टिंग विद दिस क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम IGS 2008। अब देखो, फॉलोइंग पेडिग्री illustrates the inheritance of ability to taste। अब inheritance of ability to taste, so this is टेस्टर जीन वाला इनहेरिटेंस है, और इसमें इन्होंने आपको बता रखा है बिग टी एंड स्मॉल टी। सो दिस ऑलरेडी टेल्स यू इन अ वे दैट दिस इज ऑटोजोमल डिसऑर्डर, ऑटोजोमल रिसेसिव। इन अ वे इट टेल्स यू, इन अ वे। अब देखो ये डायरेक्ट नहीं है, आपको फिगर आउट करना पड़ेगा कि ये ऑटोसोमल रिसेसिव है, बट इन अ वे आपको हिंट मिल रहा है। देखो यूजुअली अगर एक्स बेस्ड होगा तो द डिसऑर्डर वुड बी वन ऑफ द एक्स बेस्ड डिसऑर्डर्स जो एनसीईआरटी ऑलरेडी आपको बताती है, जैसे कि हीमोफीलिया, जैसे कि कलर ब्लाइंडनेस। जब एनसीईआरटी वाले डिसऑर्डर्स होंगे देन यू ऑलरेडी नीड टू नो कि उसका इनहेरिटेंस पैटर्न क्या है, और आपको फिगर आउट करना पड़ेगा। यू वुड नीड टू फिगर दैट आउट। ठीक है, सो what we are trying to do is we are going to figure it out. Okay, now autosomal recessive, this is what it feels like, but is it possible for autosomal recessive? Let us do that. Now how do we figure that out? Let us see. If one male in generation 2, we are starting with generation 2, is affected, that means it must have got the allele from both the father and the mother. It must have received the faulty allele from both father and mother. Now the mother is affected. It means she must be having big T and small t and small t. Why small t and small t? Only and only if she is homozygous recessive, homozygous for the recessive allele, will she show the disorder. Because inability to taste, as per the question, is represented by small t, small t. Now, father has to be big T, small t. Why? Father does not show the disorder. Father is completely normal, but the child is not. The child already has a disorder. So it must be that the son has to have small t, small t. Okay. Now, what about this guy? Now, you have to see that mother must have given small t, right? Mother must have given small t. What about father? Father could have given either big T or small t. But what we are seeing is that the 2-1 second generation first guy hasn't got the disorder, which means it must be carrying at least one correct allele, which is big T small t. So we can totally say that this guy is big T small t. Can we say for the second person? We can only say that she has she has one big T at least. The second we cannot argue about. We are not sure. It could be that she is big T or she is big T small t. Why? She is unaffected. Even big T is unaffected and big T small t is unaffected. Whenever we don't know, we write a dash, right? Whenever we don't know, we write a dash. Now, if you look at the children, what you'll realize is You can't tell about the second allele for any of these third generation kids. All will have one big T at least. One big T has to be there, either from the father or from the mother. So the second one we don't know. The second one could be big T from the father or the mother, or the second one could be small t. We don't know. Whatever we don't know, we will not write. So we don't know, we are not sure about this guy, and this girl. We don't know right now. So this is our analysis of the left side of the pedigree. Now let us look at the right side. Now second generation 4 is affected. What does this mean? That she has to have small t from the mother and small t from the father. What about the generation 5th? Now generation 5th is not affected, which means at least one correct dominant allele has to be there. What about the second allele? We see that the third generation 7th individual is affected. The third generation second individual has to be small t, which means the other recessive allele must have come from the father. That is why we'll say it is big T, small t. Now, if that is the case, then we'll fill the others as well. So 4, 5 and 6, they must have one small t from the father, sorry, from the mother. And since they are unaffected, they have to be big T. So big T, small t, big T, small t, big T, small t. Clear? Now there are two things I want to point out right here from this part of the cross. Now, if we would have done a typical cross, then if we would have crossed big T small t into small t, our progenies would have been big T small t, big T small t, small t small t, let me write that clearly, and small t, which means 50%, according to statistics, 50% should be affected, and 50% should be unaffected. So you might want to imagine that out of the 4 kids, 2 kids should be completely normal and carriers, and 2 kids should be having the disease. And it would have been like that had the pedigree been larger. See, if you flip a coin just 4 times, by chance it's possible that once you got heads, thrice you got tail. Just out of a random chance, the ratio is not half and half. It does not mean that the coin has error. But if you flip the same coin 100 times, your ratio would be somewhere around 0.47, or 47 tosses were heads and 53 tosses were tails. The larger is your sample size of the experiment, the more sure about the statistics based prediction you become. Okay, in this small case, it should have been half and half, but we have only 4 children. That is why, while you're doing pedigrees, don't just look at the ratios and come or and make an opinion that okay, this is the only thing that is possible. No, you should always try that you look, you will do the genotyping and then arrive at a solution. Cool. Now let us solve the question. The probability that 2 1, so we are talking about 2 1, this is the person we are talking about, is heterozygous is half. Now it is not half. Why is it not half? Because it is actually 1. If it was see uh, we can say that if it was if you look at the parent, both the parents are heterozygous, sorry, one parent is heterozygous in this case and one parent is homozygous in case, and none of the children are affected. So it is not half, it has to be a complete one, that the person here is going to be homozygous. Okay, so it's not half, so it's not correct. The person has to be homozygous here. Okay, so this becomes a false statement. The genotype of 2,5 can be either big T small t or big T big T. 2,5, this person. No, it cannot be big T big T. If it was big T, 3/7 wouldn't be affected, right? For 3/7 to be affected, 2,5 has to be heterozygous and it must be a carrier of the bad allele. So this becomes wrong, false. Now, while you are attempting questions in the exam, always ensure that you're writing true or false or correct or incorrect. Don't do a tick mark and a cross mark, because sometimes question asks what is correct, sometimes question asks what is incorrect. If you have ticked mark at the last moment, you might be confused. Did you tick mark the correct ones, or did you tick mark because you thought those were the answers and the question was asking incorrect? So to avoid confusion, write true and false or correct and incorrect. Okay. So we're writing T or F. Here we have written false. Based on the information, the number of people with undeterminable genotype is 4. Absolutely correct. We are not able to determine the genotype of second and hence first, second and third of the third generation. So this is a true statement. D. If 2,4 and 2,5 couple have two more children, 2,4 and 2,5 couple had two more children, the probability that they are both girls with taste blindness is 1 by 8. Now this is actually a problem. Why? Here they are asking two things two times. So they are asking four things. NEET may we will only ask you one thing. So we'll ask you the probability of a disorder or a probability of a disorder in a particular sex. Okay, we'll ask you what is the probability that the affected there is a affected girl, there is a affected boy. As we will not ask you that there are two children and both. Just to increase the complexity, they have done this. So let us break. So total probability in this case, total probability that they're asking in this case is probability of, let us say, C1, another child, probability of C1, let us call it C5. Why? It already the couple already has 4 children. See, they already have 4 children, so we are calling it C5. The probability of C5 uh, and probability of C6. So they are both probability of C5 and C6 that they are daughters and they are also taste blind. T blind means they are taste blind. This is what they are asking. I will split this probability. So I will say the probability of both the children having taste blindness and being a female is probability of C5 to be a female to be taste blind multiplied by probability of C6 to be a female to be taste blind. It is the multiplication of the individual probabilities. Okay, why two independent events? When you want the probability of both happening, you multiply. Clear? Now, what is the probability of being a female for anybody? That can be easily understood. XX multiplied by XY. We have 50% times chances of XX. We have 50% chance times probability of XY. So in both the cases, if we resolve the this probability, probability of C5 being a female and being taste blind, we will say it is equal to probability of C5 being a female multiplied by probability of C5 being taste blind. And then we'll multiply the whole thing by probability of C6 being a female multiplied by probability of C6 being taste blind. So we have split the individual probabilities and we have figured out probability of female is half. You see, favorable is 2, total is 4. Total is 4. How do we calculate probabilities? Favorable event, the event that is desired, the event that you're looking for, by T. T is total number of events. So 2 times there's a chance of having a boy and there are total 4 possibilities. So probability of female for anybody is half. So we figured out the first part and then we have to figure out the second part. So we'll leave the second part as it is. Probability of C5 being taste blind. Once again, probability of C6 being female is 2 and probability of C6 being taste blind we have to calculate. Okay, so far so good, I think so. Now we have to calculate the probability of taste blindness. Now what was our original couple? Our original couple was big T small t into small t small t. This is the original couple. Big T small t and small t small t. 4 and 5. Now as you see, what is the probability of them being affected, taste blind? 2 times we have small t, so favorable outcome 2, total outcome 4. 2 by 4 means 1 by 2. So 2 by 4 means 1 by 2. So both of these cases are going to be 1 by 2. Both of these cases are going to be 1 by 2. So half multiplied by half multiplied by half multiplied by half. So that becomes 1 by 2 to the 4 to the 8 to the 16. And that is our answer. It should be 1 by 16. But does the question say 1 by 16? No, the question says it is 1 by 8. Hence, we'll say this is a false statement. So our correct answer in this case will be C. C is a true statement. A, B, and D are false statements. Okay, so this is how we make certain problems difficult. We just increase the number of statements that you have to verify. In 2026 NEET paper also, this is something that happened. If there was match the following, there were good enough number of match the followings, you would have to know at least 2 to 3 of them to correctly figure it out. There were a lot of statement based questions. You would have to know all the statements or at least 3 statements to qualify it. So totally possible, nothing to be worried about. All you need to do is just be more rigorous and fast. And please work on your English. You can watch this video in English and Hindi. I'm sure YouTube now allows the audio subtitles, I think transcriptions as well. But it's very, very important that you increase and improve your English, because the original paper, the final paper will have to be in English. And let me know if you're having difficulties about it. Okay, so we'll see in the next one, and I'll also be publishing the book, the PDF of all the question compendium on the website. You can take it from there if you want. Take care. Bye bye.